Hi, I'm John Serruto, and welcome to this hometown special. I'm joined with Mayor Cheryl Burstein from Melbourne Township, and Mayor, it's nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
Cheryl, you know, the role of a mayor, sometimes it's confusing, and I'm sure it's confusing when you're in the position of mayor at times, but what exactly is the role of the mayor of Millburn?
So the mayor of Millburn is also the chairperson of the Township Committee or the Town Council, which a lot of people refer to it as a Town Council. And where theoretically I run the meetings and I set the agendas. But a mayor is much more than that. It's someone who meets with the community, meets with constituents, addresses issues. We're policymakers. When somebody has an issue or an idea, a thought, they want to meet with me, I meet with them. I do a lot of meetings with people.
So basically, you're also the face of the community.
Often, yes. I am probably the premier face of the community at this point, yes.
Now, some of the roles that the mayor has, you had mentioned you sit on the council, you get a vote like everybody else. Your vote doesn't weigh any more than the other council people.
Correct. So there are 5 of us, and my vote is equal to everyone else's.
How about the power of appointment? Can you appoint to different committees?
So the mayor, so the Township Committee appoints a number of committees, but the mayor also appoints to specific committees. So I'm on the planning board, and that's a seat for the mayor on our planning board. And the Township Committee has one other seat on the planning board that is chosen by the Township Committee, that other Township Committee person. And then everyone else, when a seat is available, is appointed by the mayor.
Of course, and this is really a volunteer position that most of these people have, these council positions and your position as mayor.
Correct. So we, the Township Committee, each one of us, we get a stipend, and that's public information. But essentially, it is a job because we love our community, and it's really for that reason that we do it. I think that everybody who runs for Township Committee, everyone who serves on Township Committee, really believes they're doing whatever they're doing, it's for the best of the community. We may not agree all the time as to what's best, but I think that every person who's in that role has the best interest of the community at heart.
Well, we're going to talk about that community in just a little bit, Melbourne
Okay.
Township, but let's talk a little bit about Cheryl Burstein. Give me a little background. Now, I know you're from Long Island originally.
I'm originally from Long Island, around the Levittown area, and I married an Israeli in Israel, and then we moved back to Long Island. We went to California, and then when we moved back from California, I had a sibling, I had a sister in West Orange, and so we decided we would look in New Jersey for housing. And we wound up in Millburn, and it was we bought our house, we contracted on our house in July of 1987, and we closed October 87, the week after the market crashed.
Oh, so you bought at the height.
We bought at the height, but we bought the height in 1987.
Yeah.
And then we moved in 2014 to our current home. So we lived in South Mountain for about 26 and a half years, and then moved to Wyoming section in 2014.
Cheryl, you also have a full-time job.
I do.
You're an attorney. So your path to that position in life, you went to school locally, college?
I went to college at SUNY Buffalo, and I went to law school at Hofstra.
And then you ended up, again, relocating here to New Jersey. And so how did you get into politics, from the legal profession to the political profession with it?
So my sister says I came by it honestly. My father was involved in politics when I was a kid. But I first was on the zoning board, and that's actually where you and I met.
That's correct.
You were on the zoning board.
Yes, and you were a very talented zoning board officer.
So, and before I was on the zoning board, I was involved in my synagogue board. I was involved in what was then the PTA when the kids were in school. And it was a natural progression from being involved in school, being involved in my synagogue, and then being involved in my greater community. And when Dan Baer was on the Township Committee, I think at the time that I got appointed, he suggested that it would be an interesting fit for me, and I loved being on the zoning board. I thought it was really interesting. Lots of things you never think about. You don't even consider what's going on in your community and how the ordinances interact with how it impacts people's lives just on a daily basis. And from there, I took the next step to running for Township Committee.
And you were a committee person for how many years before you were mayor?
Okay, so I ran in 14, and I was a committee person in 15 and 16, and I became mayor in 17 and again in 18.
So being an attorney, has it benefited you at all? Do you find any crossover from what you do on a daily basis to your leadership position here now today?
I don't know if I'm going to answer your question the way you've asked it, but I think that having been involved in the zoning board and just in governance in general has impacted my knowledge as a lawyer, and my knowledge as a lawyer has enabled me in ways when I sit as a committee person or as mayor, it's giving me information and knowledge that I wouldn't otherwise have had.
So they both impacted each other.
Correct, in a good way.
Yeah.
Positive impacts, yes. So I was sitting, I was at a seminar the other day for a land use seminar, and they start talking about this legislation, and we need an ordinance because it's for development, you now have to have a certain ordinance. And I'm texting away to our lawyer, Kit. We need to have this ordinance. He says, yes, we're drafting it. You're going to be in the forefront, so we're going to enact an ordinance that I didn't even know we needed until I was sitting in the seminar, and our attorney would have given it to us, but I don't know that it would have been as quickly, actually, had I not learned about it as I'm sitting there.
In a professional
In a professional,
setting. Yeah.
in a professional setting,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah. So that's great. They both interact together
They
in
do.
a positive way. Cheryl, you know, we go back to Melbourne Township, and you know, it just seems to be a community that's in always great demand. Obviously, we know that we have a great school system,
Right.
but there are so many other appealing features to Millburn. What is the reason why so many people want to live there beyond the school?
Well, I think, of course, we're on a train line, and we are a very easy commute to the city. So that's one piece. On the other side, we have a small town feel to us. There are things that happen in our town that are just fun. We have street fairs, we have the 4th of July every year, we have the Snowflake Parade every year.
Concerts in the park,
Concerts
I know.
in the park every summer. We have vendor sales, and in June the DMDA has done some sidewalk sales. It's fun to walk around downtown. It's fun to be part of it. We have Greenwood Gardens. We have Taylor Park. We have the Arboretum. I know I'm going to be missing things. We have just so many great assets and gems in our community that bring people in.
Well, you were talking prior to the show, the impact of the paper mill.
The paper, I told you I was going to forget
Well,
something.
no, that's we talked about it already. That's why. But again, these are draws that bring people. It's kind of a destination place.
Correct, yes. And I mean, and the paper mill's just been so awesome. At our meeting on Tuesday night, I was talking about the fact that I took 8 of us, because I had a lot of people over for Passover, so 8 of us went on Sunday to go see the Sting. And it was so much fun, and I got yelled at because the paper mill sold out. So the community was like, well, we can't go, but you get your tickets early or maybe become subscribers. And
Yeah. Well, the paper mill's really raised their game over the years too,
Oh, my-
and we've benefited really nicely from it.
sure, because our restaurants are, get the benefit of people coming to the paper mill, whether it's for dinner, whether it's for lunch, before or after. It's wonderful.
Cheryl, again, so many young couples come to town. Who aren't from the area. I guess Millburn's been kind of earmarked, just like Summit and Chatham, right up to the rail line. We all have similar features. But, you were saying also that I guess the fact that the highways are so accessible to every part of the state, really.
Right. Right, so we're right off 24, we're close to 78. We're really in a wonderful location. which is, and when people work in the city, we have a lot of we have a lot of residents who work in the city. So for them, it's a very easy commute. It's a comfortable commute, and when the trains are working, it's
Yeah, well, a lot of those residents also volunteer and give a lot of themselves, whether it's with the youth leagues or whether it's just their churches, their synagogues, or
Right.
community events. If somebody wanted to get involved on some of the committees that are out there, and maybe you can name 2 or 3 of the committees that are offered through the town, that they need representation over time, how would one go about that?
Well, we have a good website, so we have what are called volunteer interest forms that people fill out to say, I'm interested in being involved in the community. We have like the zoning board, although I think we actually need somebody on the zoning board right now. No, I'm not looking at you. You've done your service, but out there we are always looking for people. Planning board, you would submit a volunteer interest form to our clerk, the township clerk, Christine Gaddy. We have Senior Citizens Advisory Board. We have Historical Preservation Commission. But on top of the committees that are appointed by either the mayor or the town or the town council, we also have a lot of volunteer organizations. So we have the Historical Society. We have Down the Block, which is a not-for-profit for assisting Millburn Short Hills residents in times of need. We have the Junior League. We have all sorts of charitable organizations. We have the Ed Foundation, which supports the projects in schools. And so we're talking now, even though we're in April, we're talking about Rocktoberfest, which is they're going to have their 3rd Rocktoberfest extravaganza in the park at the end of September.
So tell us about Rocktoberfest. What happens?
So at Rocktoberfest, I don't have little kids, but I walked around it, and there are vendors, there are rides, there are booths. It's just a fun festival all day, taking place in Taylor Park and all day. And they raise money for the Ed Foundation, and which is an amazing, it provides extra to our schools, which are already fabulous.
A great event for a great cause.
Great event for a great cause, and a lot of people come from out of town. I had associates from my firm. They heard about it, they came.
Yeah, nice. Cheryl,
Exactly.
we were talking about different characteristics of the community before, and we left off the Short Hills Mall, which is kind of on the far end of town, but again, as the years have gone on, a lot of people identify with our community with the mall. Are you in contact with the management at all at the mall, or are they basically independent from us?
We are in contact. I've met with them actually a number of times. Whenever they're interested in doing something new, or they want to advise us that things are going on. There's a lot of changes going on at the mall right now. So they have a new manager. He's been there, I would say, maybe a little bit less than a year. And they're looking to do some interesting things at the mall.
Well, again, I know there's some changes with the restaurants, and
Right.
do they have, can you reveal if you know anybody new coming in?
I actually know, but I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal.
Oh. Well, that's why.
But it's exciting.
It sounds exciting.
It is exciting,
Well,
yes.
Well, great. Now, again, let's go through the community. We talked about having 2 train stations, which again is a great appeal.
Right.
We mentioned the parks, and but let's talk a little bit about what you have found in this position about the people, because we have a diverse community.
Yes, we have a very diverse community, and we have a very proud, diverse community. And it's an interesting town because we are so diverse in certain ways. I like talking to I think people want to coalesce and move the town forward and make the town, in their words, better, although I don't know that I would necessarily use that language, but everyone wants to make something better, even if it's
already
great.
good. Yeah.
Right, even if it's great.
Yeah.
We can do better, we can make it better. The people are willing to work hard to, establish themselves, make their mark in the community.
So you're finding that people that do come here, especially we're international. We have a lot of international now.
We do.
But they do want to put a stake in the ground and be part of the township community. And
Yes, and so the Chinese community, for instance, does a spring festival and a fall festival. And they really do some outreach to bring the non-Chinese community members to enjoy what they're performing and putting on for us so that we have a better cross-cultural understanding. The same with the Hindi community, I would say, where they are trying to bring their holidays more even like through the park and a greater general availability to members to people who are not members of their community.
do you find that at council meetings that you have an astute citizenship out there that knows what's going on, they want to follow what's happening at these meetings, and they want to contribute their thoughts?
It's really interesting. Since I started in 2015 on the Township Committee, when I started, I would say we had like 5 serious followers, people who came regularly to meetings. At this point, there are substantially more residents who come regularly to meetings, who are engaged in the discussions, who are aware of what's going on. And some come for a specific reason. They've got an interest in a particular subject matter. And what I'm finding is that some of them come, even after that's dealt with, they come and they stay. They want to be engaged. They're interested, which I think is great. I think it really provides a better background for people who are now starting to think about a political future, to really have, you're not coming from left field without any background. At least you're now starting with having been engaged in the process.
What can somebody find on the website, on the Millburn Township website? Can they find minutes from those meetings? Can they find video clips? Any other information?
So agendas are on the website. There are minutes from our Township Committee meetings, the minutes from the Planning Board, the Zoning Board, whatever committees have minutes, they're supposed to be up on the website. I think the Historic Preservation Commission keeps minutes. Resolutions should be up there. There's a lot of information that you can get from the clips. So when we're now working on our master plan with the Planning Board, the draft plans as we're working on them are up on the website so people can download them, read them, look at what we're doing. We're working on a housing element of our master plan for our affordable housing element. That's up on the website. So as we progress through the planning stages, all that information will be up on the website as soon as we can get it up there.
Okay. Emergency situation, Mayor Burstein. I lost power 5 out of 7 days 3 weeks ago. No fault to the community. Obviously, we have so many trees in our area, and it doesn't take much with the winds to knock down a couple wires. So if I want to be involved with the emergency robo number that goes on, how do I register for that?
Swift 911. You can do it on the website.
Do it on the website.
Yes.
Are you in communication with the utility companies?
All the time. In fact, we have a liaison, and he came to we asked him to come to our Township Committee meeting and to speak to the public after, was it Quinn? After Quinn, which he did. And I just actually talked to him the other day as well. We text. I'm not a big fan of texting, but I do text when I have to. I prefer phone calls. I prefer to talk to somebody. But yes, I'm in constant contact with him. During the storm, I was on a mayor's call every day. The robocalls were something we did. We wanted to get information out to the public and let them know we were aware. Yes, my neighborhood was also one of the last neighborhoods to get power. And I said that it was only fair, since I'm the mayor. I should not have power before anyone else. So I'm supposed to apologize to my neighbors.
Well, anybody that knows you knows that you put other people first, Cheryl, and
So,
that goes way
and
back.
I did say I was going to get my lineman's license when this is done.
Well,
No.
they need linemen. Believe me, they do. Do you? But even beyond the township, one of the real appeals to northern New Jersey that people are very surprised about who come from outside the area is that we are tree-lined and beautifully landscaped properties.
We are a tree city. We're very proud of the fact that we're a tree city. Yes. And when people come to buy properties, they love our shade trees. That's, I love our shade trees. But it's a problem when you have your power lines in your trees and your power lines next to each other. So the utility is supposed to be trimming, and whether they're doing the job they should do, that's something that we're going to be talking about in the future with JCP&L. Whether or not they should be being a little more proactive, making it a little bit, but if a tree's going to fall on a power line, a tree's going to fall on a power line.
Yeah, it's very tough. It's very tough. It's a double edge of having that beauty and
Right.
having the potential problem when
Right.
storms do come.
So I presume more people are getting generators after this storm.
I know I will be one. That's
We're
for
also
sure.
applying for
yeah, yeah. Cheryl, we talked again about things going on downtown. There are a lot of exciting things, and you were saying many restaurants continue to open.
Yes,
in
we
Millburn.
have. Yeah, we have. Every day something's opening or getting permits to open. We have a bread shop coming in. We have. What's nice is we have so many different. We have a lot of Italian food, but on the other hand, we have Vietnamese, we have Chinese, we have Japanese, we have Mediterranean, we have Greek. We have a lot of different types of food availability. Thai, which is really very and they're good. The restaurants are very good.
They have to be good to stay in today. You know
Correct.
that. It's very competitive. But again, we have that international flavor, which is neat. It's kind of like being in Brooklyn or one of the boroughs.
Right, and we have a walkable town, which is so wonderful. It's very walkable. You can go from one end to the other. It's not difficult. It's comfortable to walk there. So that's one of the draws.
So if you had to say at this point, Cheryl, in your political career and where you are and the things that you've done, if you were to say one thing that surprised you in a positive light about people, what would it be?
I don't know, because I really do have almost a naive belief that people are good. So it's just that people really care about their community. And it's wonderful, but I don't want to say that that's surprising, because I have an expectation that they do. I really do. I think that if people live in a place, they should care about it. And I think that as a general rule in this town, people really do care about their town, and they want the best for it.
I agree. Very well said. Well, moving forward, Cheryl Burstein, you're going to host this show.
I get to sit there.
And you get to sit here, and you're going to be bringing in some individuals from the community, whether
Yes.
they're with the government, employees, or just citizens, whatever a point of interest that you may have.
I think that's great. I think it's great for people to meet your government, as well as other organizations that should be interesting to people.
Absolutely, and I think learn your government.
Right.
As we just talked about, the role of a mayor. We talked about here in Summit may have a different description to what the mayor does, and Chatham may also have another description, different from the two of us.
Right, exactly, and different too. Cities have full-time mayors, and we don't. Our mayor is not a full-time, and there are people who think that it is, that does surprise me.
Well, you
But-
also know that oftentimes the non-full-time mayor is a full-time mayor.
Yes, I say I have 2 full-time jobs, and sometimes more.
Well, Cheryl Burstein, this was wonderful to get to know you even better and talk
Thank you.
about your great community, which is also my community, and we look forward to your show moving forward.
Thank you.
Good. And thank you very much for joining us in this segment.